strategy sounds like a fancy word. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I don't want you to be scared of it. Especially when Axiom talks about strategy, we mean something very particular. And it's just this. It's no more complicated than an area that we're going to focus on for the next 2, maybe even 3 years until we get it right. So what does that mean? That's maybe not very helpful. Well, let me back up and talk to you a little bit about how we view businesses. This comes from 20 years of working with different businesses, all different industries, different sizes, different types, but primarily in the, say, 1 million, 2 million, up to 60, 70, 80 million dollar space. Here's what they all have in common. Number one, they have to get culture right first, then leadership, then operations, then sales and marketing, and finally financial health and profitability. Each one of these layers depends on the layers underneath it. So here's what I mean. Culture is some stuff that we've already talked about. It is the extent to which values are driving the organization. They define its culture. We have a vision. There's a why behind the vision that's worthy of everybody's best effort. And we know what it means to be on mission. We have a mission statement that actually means something because we have already built the 3 legs of that stool on values, vision, and why. Leadership is the extent to which roles and responsibilities are clearly communicated and understood in the organization, and the extent to which servant leadership is the model for leadership in the company. Operations is simply our ability to deliver a consistent customer experience. Sales and marketing is our ability to generate a new stream of customers and continue to offer value to existing customers so that we have a maximum lifetime value for our customers. And then finally, financial health and profitability. That's not just the profitability of the income statement in terms of net income and gross income, or net margin and gross margin. It is also the health of the balance sheet. Are we carrying enough cash reserves? Are our receivables good? Are our payables in check? Are we managing our debt? Are our fixed assets in good shape? Are we building an equity base so that we can continue to fund our own growth? So if we have an issue in one of these areas, we typically look to the layer underneath it. So if you have a financial health and profitability, probably the first thing we're going to focus on is increasing sales. If we have a problem with sales, it could be because we are not able to consistently deliver on our promises when it comes to operations. If we have an issue in operations, it's probably because we don't have a leadership team that's capable of building the systems and processes to deliver that experience. And if we don't have a good leadership team, it's probably because we don't have a culture capable of attracting and retaining those great leaders. So in our strategic assessment, we're trying to understand where the organization is in each of these areas. And then in terms of implementation, that's our phase 2. That's typically going to be the next 6 to 12 months that we work with that company, where we're trying to build those cultural pieces, the vision, the values, the why, a mission statement. We're trying to put the org chart together, or assemble a leadership team, get clear on roles and responsibilities, do some leadership development. We're putting together systems and processes and operations. We are building sales processes. We're measuring sales results. We're getting more focused on our marketing campaigns. And we're cleaning up our income statement and our balance sheet. We're putting budgets and forecasts in place and managing against those. We're building toward cash reserve targets, those types of things. Now, once we're done with implementation, now we're ready to enter phase 3, which is our long-term strategic planning and execution. When we get into long-term strategic planning and execution, that's when we have to think out that 2 to 3 year mark. What strategies are worth pursuing for the next 2 to 3 years to get us closer to our vision? So I'm going to give you some examples because the strategies also line up with the different layers of this pyramid. So I'm just going to give you some examples. These are not exhaustive lists of all the possible strategies. And there's going to be some overlap. A strategy is going to affect multiple layers of the pyramid, but it kind of starts in terms of home base in one of the particular layers. So let's start at the top. Some things that we might focus on to drive financial health and profitability. Gross profitability tracking in terms of our direct materials, our direct labor, the things that move in direct correlation with revenue. Can we get more efficient in those and get more profitable in those areas? Job-based margin improvement. If we have discrete jobs, if we're working with a contractor, Are we able to exceed our bid targets? Are we able to manage our jobs well so that they come in below budget and we have higher profits in those? Labor efficiency. Are we able to generate more revenue or more gross profit for every dollar of labor that we spend? Product line pruning. Are there things that we are selling or services that we're offering that we should just get rid of because they're a drag on the financials? And inventory turns. Can we lower our inventory amount, turn it over more often, move closer to a just-in-time inventory system so that we don't have as much cash tied up in inventory and increase profits that way? Those are all examples of what we might call financial strategies. Then we get into sales and marketing strategies, things like creating a professional sales team, building sales disciplines, having a transformed sales process. Sometimes industries require us to start selling differently, and that can be a major undertaking. Cross-selling existing customers. Sometimes we have a lot of value to unlock in our existing customer base because they're only taking advantage of one or two of our products or services. Exploiting a niche. So is there an area where we can double down in an industry or a product or a geographic segment and get more value for our dollar there? Doing outbound sales, doing inbound sales, moving to a subscription-based business model. Operation strategies, things like customer retention. Are we able to keep more of our customers year over year and lose fewer of them to competitors? Implementing the Acme way. So let's say at Axiom, is there a way that we run a meeting? Is there a way that we onboard new employees, onboard new clients? Is there a way that we do training? Is there a way that we do everything in the HR function of our business? That is the Axiom way. So building kind of that playbook that we run the company by. That's very much an operational strategy. Upgrading, improving tools, plants, or process. So is there new technology that we're going to move into that's going to open up new markets or allow us to be more efficient than the competition? Some kind of next generation move that we need to be making there. Software implementation is a big one. Everything from CRM systems to order flow management. Those are all things that require a multi-year strategy to really roll out and take full advantage of. And then franchise scaling is simply this idea that we're going to take what we're doing here and be able to transport that somewhere else and open a second location, or even move on to other owners, like actually sell franchise rights to other territories. Leadership strategies, workforce development is a common one. Succession, building the next generation of leaders and potentially even the next generation of owners inside the business. Organizational chart restructuring, maybe something like moving from a departmental org chart to a functional org chart. Those are examples of leadership strategies. Cultural strategies, there aren't a lot of them because this is the foundation of the business. We are going in implementation, we're going to make sure we have this solid cultural base, and we're going to be constantly working on that. We don't believe that you necessarily set a strategy to improve the culture so much as you put the cultural underpinnings in place, and then you do really hard work together. Pursuing your vision, consistent with your values, motivated by the same purpose, the same why, and on mission. And that's going to build your culture. But there are times when we've done a lot of other things. Maybe we've opened a second location and the culture there is kind of broken from what it needs to be. And we might say, we're going to press pause. And before we go to that third or that fourth location, we're going to work on some kind of cultural transformation. And that could take some time. The point is that you need to pick one. There are books, there are consultants, there are advisors, there are systems that say you need a strategy for each one of these areas running all the time. But I think we also get back to this semantic difference. When they say strategy in that sense, most of the time they're talking about just a generic type of goal. So we need a goal for culture. We need a goal for leadership. We need a goal for operations. And it's not that I'm against that, but I think that every one of the strategies that we pick is going to have overflow into all of these areas. I think we're much better off focusing on one strategy, pouring the leadership team's entire effort and ability into that, staying focused, and we're going to make faster progress. It could be the case that we knock out that first strategy. We get really good at this strategic planning and execution discipline. And then the second time around, maybe we pick a primary and a secondary strategy, and we can pursue both of those at the same time. But We are going to set goals. We're going to set a goal based on our primary strategy. Here we call that a wildly important goal. If we're going to focus on something for the next 2 to 3 years, we need to make sure that our progress in that area is measurable. And we do that through the WIG, the wildly important goal. The main point is stay focused. You will make a lot more progress if you focus your time and attention in one area. There are going to be more opportunities than we ever have the time, energy, or money to pursue. So staying focused is really the only answer.